This is the story of a blessed child who was born 9 long years after her parents' marriage. They had performed much penance and desperately prayed for her to be conceived. When she did come, they embraced her as a gift from the divine and showered her with unconditional love and care. When she was just 3, her father took her through the swimming pool for the first time and dropped her right into the deep. But even as her mother watched in panic, up she came, totally fearlessly, grinning gleefully at the new experience, automatically responding to her parents' efforts to give her the best of everything. She flourished and effortlessly excelled. By the age of 8, she became a state champion in swimming, as well as the youngest member of the Tamil Nadu senior women's cricket team, a record that still stands. She also captained the Tamil Nadu under-19 girls cricket team to its only national level victory in any tournament so far. This is a record that also still stands. Her father's job requirements saw them move almost every year. And during the 12 years of school, she attended 9 different schools in 3 different continents. Completing her schooling in Pennsylvania with highest honors, she found a place in the who's who amongst America's students, an award that is bestowed upon the elite top 2 percentile of American students, an award that virtually guarantees entrance into the country's top Ivy League schools like Princeton, Yale, and Harvard. But she chose to continue her education in India against the trend because her dream was to represent India in cricket. Returning home, she enrolled in an MBA program. For the first time, at the age of 18, she found a place in the women's South Zone cricket squad, and it looked as if her dream of wearing the India jersey would soon be fulfilled. The future was brimming with infinite possibility. Then, on a beautiful afternoon, during a college excursion to Pondicherry, while holding hands and playing in the beach with her girlfriends, she stumbled and fell into thigh-deep water. And she never got up again. This natural swimmer, who had started swimming at the age of 3, broke her neck by diving into 2.5 feet of water without hitting a rock, any hard surface, without a single drop of blood being spilled. She had sustained a serious spinal cord injury that left her paralyzed below the neck. In the span of a split second, her dreams were shattered. Her life, as she knew it, was irretrievably lost. And then, Namaste everyone. First of all, I want to thank Rose and the TEDx Choice team for giving me this wonderful opportunity to be here and share my story with all of you. Like you said, like you just saw, my life has been one of stark contrast. The first 18 years of my life was absolutely perfect. And then, well, now you can see. So, first thing, I'm here to show you the power of perspective. What is perspective? Let me share a few things with you. How many of you here wear glasses? I see many hands being raised. Do you feel you're handicapped? No. How come? Take your glasses off. Isn't it true that you are also handicapped in some way? If you say that a person should be perfect physically, then we are all more or less handicapped, are we not? It's just a matter of degree. I mean, your handicap can be fixed with a pair of glasses, Well, mine requires something more. Right? How many of you traveled here in a car? Most of us. How many of you dream of having a BMW or an Audi someday? Many of us, right? The car is an important symbol of status, of success in our society today, is it not? But what if I say that for me the car is nothing more than a glorified wheelchair? What would you say? I mean, I've traveled here. It has 4 wheels, yes or no? And it takes you from A to B. And my wheelchair goes at 10 kilometers an hour. And in Kochi's traffic, or in traffic in most parts of the world, I might get there earlier than you. Right? So, mostly things are in the way we see things, right? Do you know how many muscles it takes to move one step forward? Just one step? Any guesses? 10, 50, 100? It takes 200 muscles working in unison to just take one step forward. Do we in our day-to-day lives appreciate the tremendous gift, the miraculous gift of a healthy body? We don't. We just take it for granted, right? Imagine if we had to think about getting 200 muscles working together. Think that, okay, I've got this one right. Okay, what about that one? And then we wouldn't make it to the bathroom in a day, right? But everything works together. We don't even have to think about it. So we just take it for granted. And then when we see a person in a wheelchair, what do? If you've seen a person in a wheelchair, what do you think? What's the first thought that comes to you? Pity? In Tamil they say, Ayyo Pavam. Oh, how sad for them. In some parts of India they will say, oh, it must be karma coming back. They must have done something to deserve it. Right? But I'm saying, if you really think that we are pitiable, why don't you take a challenge that I'm going to post in front of you? For the rest of this talk, my challenge to you is, why don't you try to be in my body for just a little while? Will you take up this challenge? Just below the neck, become paralyzed. For the next 15 minutes or so, just don't move anything in your body other than your neck. You can say anything. If suddenly you feel an itch somewhere, you can ask for help and somebody can come and scratch it for you. If you feel like having a drink of water, you can ask for help and somebody can give you a drink of water. But you're not to move anything. No fingers, no toes, nothing. And just at the end of this 15 minutes, I want you to take a few seconds to just think about how difficult it is. If you even can manage 15 minutes. And if you can't manage 15 minutes in my body, then do I really need your pity, do you think? No, I don't. None of us do. We are warriors. We are fighters. We are survivors. We are taking up so many challenges in a day-to-day basis. We don't need pity. All we want is your friendship. All we want is your encouragement. All we want is a chance to prove ourselves. Nothing more. And now that I have you as a truly captive audience, I'm going to go back to my story and say that at the age of 18, right? You saw my story. I was a star at everything. Everyone looked at me with admiration, with respect, with love, with approval. My teachers loved me, my friends loved me. And then in a split second, I lost everything. I lost everything that I was. I lost my identity. I was a sportsperson, a star. And then I was nothing at all. I was nobody. People would either look at me with pity or they would studiously look away. And I was shocked. I didn't understand. I was 18. I was the same champion within, and people were looking at me with pity. I couldn't breathe. I felt invisible. I would get panic attacks when I would be in public. I couldn't understand. I didn't want to live like that. For 2 years after my accident, I refused. I refused completely to come out of the apartment. I said, like the famous phrase, Hakuna Matata. If the world turns its back on you, you turn your back on the world. Right? I didn't want any part of this world that rejects me just because my body might be different. Yes, my body might be different, but I'm not. I'm the same person you approved of 2 days back. So I didn't understand. And then it was my parents' love, their unconditional love, that brought me out of it. It was my father who changed my perspective. He said to me, don't ask why me. Stop asking why me. Ask yourself, why not me? Ask yourself how you can use this opportunity. He told me, this body is going. Everybody's body is going. If not today, then 10 years from today. If not 10 years from today, 50 years from today. But this body is not permanent for anyone. So what if it's gone? Use it as an opportunity. Use it to go within and find that within you that can't be taken away. That can't be taken away by external circumstance. That can't be taken away by people changing. Is there something within me that nobody can take away from me? That was the challenge. And that was the opportunity my father gave me. Today he's not here, but everything I say and do, he lives within me. And when my perspective changed from why me to why not me, then I started expressing myself through these mouth paintings. I never painted before because when I had my hands and legs, I was too busy swimming. I was too busy holding a bat. So when I started the mouth paintings, it was an adventure. It was such a wonderful discovery. It didn't feel difficult at all. I loved it. So these are some of the mouth paintings that I was doing. And then slowly, what happened is that I started feeling passionate about life again. My parents gave me a beautiful spiritual lineage, and through grace, somehow I started healing from within. And what happened at that point was that at the age of 57, just overnight, I lost my father to a silent heart attack. 4 days after that, my mother had a heart attack. Suddenly, my life was rocked again. I didn't understand how I could live without them. I still don't. And then things got further worse, you can say, further complicated. What happened was I had 2 near-death experiences of my own. The first time I was gone for 45 seconds. The second time I was gone for 8 minutes. My body went into spasm. The lungs got stuck together. They became like a vacuum. Like that. Sometimes like how plastic bags get stuck together, and the more you try to open them, the more stuck they become. So the more I tried to breathe, the more stuck my lungs were becoming. And I told my mother, "Ma, I'm dying." And she was desperate. She had chest pain and I couldn't do anything. But then suddenly something happened. I became detached. I became a witness of my own death. And I was able to witness my body go through the death throes without fear. There was no more fear. And then I just surrendered. And I said to myself, I surrender in the will of my master. And then I was gone. And then 8 minutes back, I came back to my mother and my grandmother beating on me desperately. And then I said, "Ma, I'm back, stop beating me." And that was it. That was the end of fear in my life. You know, I was talking to some friends outside and they were saying the two main things that they are afraid of is public speaking and death. And then I can say now I've conquered both. And when people tell me, "Are you afraid of death?" And I say that, you know what, I've been there, done that. It's not anything. So somehow in dying, I found the way to be perfectly alive, to be fully alive in the here and now, in the present moment. And in losing everything there is to lose, I found that there is no loss at all. I am the cripple that is whole. And I'm able to be the happiest person in every room I go into. And somehow I get the opportunities to be an inspirational speaker in very, very big companies. And then there are people who are CEOs who sit there and I can't buy a smile from them. I tell them, "Guys, it's free, smile." And then I go to these offices and I'm grinning at everyone and they think, "What's wrong with this?" And I'm saying, why? What are we trying to do with our lives? What is the true meaning of this existence? Is it to just go there and earn money? And is it to go and get married and have 2 kids and have them go to certain school and this and that? If you have 1 house, you go after 2 houses. If you have 1 car, go after 2 cars. There's no end to it. And it will never satisfy. It will never be enough because it will keep needing more and more. Contentment, bliss, happiness can't be found outside. As long as you're looking for happiness outside of you, you'll always be in trouble. Because it will keep changing. The person who approves of you today will throw stones at you tomorrow. So that's what I've learned in this life. I've become totally not identified with this body, totally not invested in any of my actions or the rewards thereof. So today, if you all clap, I'm happy, but I don't take credit for it. And tomorrow, if there's another group of people who throw rotten stones at me or tomatoes at me, I'll do this and I'll go ahead. Because it doesn't matter. I'm happy and nobody can take that away from me. So when I got all these, when my perspective changed from why me to why not me, I became passionate. I became fully alive in the present moment. And then purpose came into my life. I got a larger purpose in life. Because when my mother had her bypass surgery, I had to take all the decisions. I had to start working. And I'm very proud to say that I work full time now for a website. I'm a writer and I work full time using a speech activated software. And I can challenge any of you that I can type faster than you. Right? So, when my mother had her bypass, my father's friends came up to me and said, "What is your future going to be like?" What happens if there is a day that your family can't care for you? So, when we have a question that we have no answer for, what do we do these days? We Google it, right? So that's what I did. I Googled it and I researched and I found that there is not a single long-term rehabilitation center for a woman in my condition anywhere in India. We are 1/5 of the world's population and 43% of that is the woman's vote. But should any of us be in this condition and our family can't care for us for any reason, we have two options. We can either commit suicide or we can be abandoned and thrown onto the streets. These are the options we have. And my mother said, you be the change. I have faith in you, you can do it. We will start the rehabilitation center. And my answer was, Ma, are you mad? I don't know anything about accounts. Moment I see numbers, my brain shuts down. I don't know anything about the law. How am I going to start a trust? I've spent a dozen years of my life in complete isolation. How am I going to run an organization? I can't do it. I can't even care for myself. I can't change a channel. What am I going to do changing the world? Right? But then what happened after her surgery when we went back to Tiruvannamalai 3 months later? Within a 2-month span of time, 2 paraplegic girls, 2 girls whose upper body worked fine. They were using their hands, they were doing cooking, they were cleaning the house. They were told that you are a shame, you are a burden on us, you don't deserve to live. Because you are part of my family, we are being ostracized. Because you are there, nobody is willing to marry your brother. So you die. They came and left poison next to them. They drank it and died. This is happening every day. This is a fact. So then I said, if within my tiny world, so many people are dying, how much must be happening outside? And today, if I am going to be afraid, if I am going to be afraid of failure, if I am going to be afraid of challenge, and if I don't do something today, I'll not be part of the solution, I'll be part of the problem. So we started Soulfree. It's a public charitable trust, and we are working to spread awareness about spinal cord injury in India. Spinal cord injury, the statistics about spinal cord injury in the US are that one happens 38 minutes, in every 38 minutes. It's not a rare condition. There are more than 250,000 quadriplegics living in the US alone. In India, no statistics are available. The government of India doesn't even recognize spinal cord injury as a specific disability. It is just pooled under orthopedic disabilities. There is no medical insurance. The emergency medical care system is very poor. There are no rehabilitation centers at all, short term or long term. So we want to be the change. We want to create awareness about this condition. I want to tell school students everywhere that you are not invincible. Bad things happen to good people all the time. So don't take unnecessary risks. Don't wear the helmet for the petrol tank. The helmet is for your head. Don't drink and drive, because for one moment of misfortune, you will have to spend the rest of your life paying for it. A spinal cord injury can happen to anyone at any time. There is no cure for it anywhere in the world. And we need to do something about people who already have sustained this injury. We are very serious about rehabilitating them. We are very serious about reintegrating them into society, because all of us can be productive. I am paralyzed below the neck. I might be all dolled up thanks to my mother, but the truth is nothing works. I'm paralyzed below the neck. I don't have control over my urine. I don't have control over my bowels. If today there are not volunteers to help me get from the bed to the wheelchair, I wouldn't be here. So it's important for youngsters to volunteer. It's important that we are also valued because we can be productive. And the other thing is we are taught never to ask for help. But it's important to ask for help. If I hadn't asked for help, I wouldn't be here today. And I'm here and I know that I can give back. I can inspire 1,000 people. But I need help. I need your support to help Soulfree fulfill its vision, to fulfill its mission. Because these are the sort of people we are helping. That is Revati. She was 16 years old. And after her 10th grade exams, I know many of you might be going to Malaysia or some part of the world. She was asked to lift stones. And the rock hard stone was so hard. And she's such a skinny little girl. She fainted. And the stone fell on her neck. She sustained a spinal cord injury. We went there to her house to speak to her. Her mother says, I have 3 other kids. I can't care for her. I'll not take her to the rehabilitation center. We are trying to get them medical rehab. We are trying to make them financially independent so that at least for the money they will keep them alive. We are trying to give them hope. We are trying to give them a chance to lead a life of dignity and purpose. In truth, we are trying to set their souls free so that they can live with dignity and purpose. Because as long as the soul is in this body, it is limited to this body. And if every day, just because you have a broken body, a less than perfect body, you're told that you're a shame and a burden and you don't deserve to live, then something within you dies every day. I am here because my parents gave me unconditional love. Never once did they blame me for an accident. Never once did they say, you not only destroyed your life, you destroyed ours as well. It is because of that mother who has not slept for 8 continuous hours in 18 years, because every night she has to turn me twice so that I don't die of a bed sore, that I am here today. So it is very important. It's very important to receive love from our families. It's very important for us to receive love from our community, and that we as Indians ensure that no girl has to commit suicide just because she had some misfortune. Just because, let me say it, she's disabled. And that's what we want to change. Through Soulfree, we want to give people who are disabled the chance to become positively able. And I request each of you all to go and look at our website to help us, to become our friend, to employ people with disabilities if you're entrepreneurs, to give us a chance to make our world more wheelchair accessible so that I can get into a restaurant and eat, so that I can get into a theater and eat, so that I can go to a school and become educated, so that I can be employed. The world can be so much simpler just through wheelchair accessibility, just through a change in intent, just through sensitized, supportive communities. And that's what I request of all of you. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.